setting new standards in podcast excellence. You have joined the WBT, fully focused on business and taxes. Here is your host, Michael Lodge.
Welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. It's a Sunday morning, kind of cloudy here in Palm Beach. What is our conversation today about? Well, today is Sunday and it's a spiritual day. So we're going to talk about prayer for the nation. No commercials, none of my business commercials for my office today. We're just going to talk, you and I. Sit down. I've got my coffee. You have your drink, whatever it is. We're going to talk about prayer. Now, when I was a child, every morning when school began, we did two things. One, we had prayer, and that prayer was to help guide us throughout the day. And then, of course, we stood up and said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Now, they don't do that anymore in schools unless you go to a private school. But there was something that was special, and we looked forward to it every morning because we also had our announcements, and we had announcements that we were going on a field trip, but it was at the beginning of every single day that we began with prayer. And I began my life with prayer also. Every morning I get up. Sometimes I don't make it out of bed, and I still pray while I'm laying there in bed. But I keep a prayer journal, and I keep it in my regular journal. And I write down, a lot of people send in prayer requests to me. Sometimes when I go to church, I put a post out there that says, listen, I'm at church, I'm here to pray. Does anybody have any prayer requests? And they send them in to me via text or email, a message, or whatever method that they use. But they get them into me. So I have all these prayer requests that I write down into my journal. And that's how I begin my day, I begin my weeks. And Sundays are my kind of like my cleansing days. This is a day that I go to church. This is a day, or sometimes I speak. And these are the days where I take prayer requests. And I get hundreds and hundreds of these prayer requests. It's funny, I'm doing a business podcast where we talk about business and taxes. But a lot of people send in prayer requests to me because they know that I believe in God, and so they send them in to me, which is okay. I love that. And if anybody out there has a prayer request, send it in to me. You can send it in to me by texting it into me at 818-252-5682. That's the fastest way because it buzzes me right away when a text come in. That's our business text line, but I'll take your prayer requests. But one of the issues that I find sad is that we as Americans don't really sit down and pray for our country. And there's a lot to pray for. Right now, we're going through this impeachment hearing. The nation is divided. The people are divided. The political views are divided. The morality is divided of what's right and what's wrong. The president is under attack. I think this is the most important time right now as Americans are under attack by political agendas that we need to pray. Now, I want to tell you that when I was young, we used to have these evangelistic meetings that would go through our town. And we used to also have camp meetings. I don't know if any of you have ever been to a camp meeting, but those are religious experiences that you have with fellow believers. And it's really good. And one of the things that I learned about prayer is that there's the ABCs of prayer. And it's A is for ask. You have to ask God for whatever your quest may be. B, you really have to believe in God. You have to believe that He's going to answer your prayer. And C, claim the promises of God. There's a great promise of God that says, ask anything in my name and I shall give it to you. Believe, but you have to believe. And I think right now, since the nation is in turmoil, that we really need to drop to our knees every once in a while, almost daily, and pray for our nation. Pray that we become united again. Pray for the president in his safety. Pray that he makes wise decisions. And then we need to pray that same prayer for us too. That He gives us the knowledge and the ability to think things through and decide clearly between right and wrong, good and bad. But our nation is struggling at the moment. Our democracy is struggling. Our Constitution is struggling at the moment because it's being attacked by all sides. Now, this nation has always been a nation of prayer. We even have a National Prayer Day, where even the President and the Congress and members of Congress and members of the legislative branch and everybody go to a prayer meeting and they pray for the greatness of this nation, to be strong, to be steadfast. The leaders choose what is right and wrong, what is best for the people of this nation. That's what prayer does. But we've forgotten how to do that. So I want to encourage every single one of you, if you believe in prayer, pray for this nation. Pray for your fellow American. Pray for the president. Pray for members of Congress or judicial branch. The greatest thing that you can do for your nation is to pray and to get involved. But prayer starts the ball rolling. It gives you that courage to do something for your nation. Over the last few days, I've been contemplating running for the 20th District congressional seat here in Florida. And I've been going back and forth, but finally I said, you know what, Lord, you have got to help me. Guide me in this process. Let me know which path that I should take. And I will go by whatever you point me to. So I have a few days to make up my decision of whether or not if I should run for Congress. I've been encouraging more and more people to run for Congress. If you have a strong belief in your nation, if you have a strong belief in the Constitution, and if you have a strong belief that we need to get back onto that path where we think with our common sense of what is right and wrong, run for Congress, or run for a state office, or run for a local city office, or whatever is in your heart to do. But make sure that you pray about it and that you get some direction from God. So I encourage anyone out there that's fed up, that feels that they need to get involved. Some of you can get involved in the local level by getting involved in your communities and getting programs together that can help the inner city kids or elderly in your communities. Some of you may want to run for public office. And some of you may just want to pray. You may want to put together prayer groups to pray for our nation. There's so much out there that we can do. There's so much that we can lend our heart, and lend our hand, and lend our time to make our nation a better nation. Prayer is an interesting thing. I've already taught you about the ABCs. But I want to impress upon you, don't worry about having the right words for your prayer. What you should be worried about is worry more about having the right heart. It's not eloquence he seeks. It's your honesty. Look up. Just talk to him. Ask him, Lord, help our nation. Lord, help our president. Lord, help our Congress. Lord, help my family. Lord, help my employment. Lord, and there's a lot of requests. But remember, first you've got to ask. And listen, God doesn't care how you ask it. And then you've got to believe that he's really, really going to listen to you. And then you've got to claim the promises that God has given you in the scriptures. ABCs. Simple, isn't it? ABCs. But don't worry about having the right words. God understands. In fact, he probably even knows before you even say it what you're going to say. But now is the time that you and I, we need to, on this spiritual day, especially on this Sunday. Doesn't matter what time of the day you do it. But when you get time, or when you get to that time of the day where you feel that you need to offer up your prayers, remember this nation in your prayer. Remember that God's listening. And he will hear what your desires are if it's coming from the heart filled with love. That is the most beautiful thing about prayer, is that God hears all. So I ask today, on this Sunday, and every single day, Sunday through next Saturday, pray for this nation. Pray that we can become undivided and become united once again, and that we work together to make this nation a healthy nation, a beautiful nation. It always has been. But sometimes we get off the path. And it's time that we start praying so we get the nation back onto the path of what's right and what's wrong for this country. Now, I personally don't believe that impeachment's right. I think it's so divisive and destroys this nation's and our trust for each other that it does great damage. And it has done great damage. But I also believe that if we pray, that God will hear us and get us back onto the right path. The path where communication becomes better and trust becomes stronger. And devotion to this nation becomes even bigger. But we need to pray about this. And we need to have faith that at some point in time, God is going to say, okay, enough is enough. America, you are a beacon to other countries, and they're watching you very carefully how you're handling this. And right now they are looking at you with mistrust. Because democracy needs to be checked every once in a while. Democracy has to be the path of our country where it protects everybody, not just a group of people or an elitist group of people, but it protects the whole nation, you and me. And when we see that democracy is under attack or our rule of law is under attack, we need to pray doubly hard, triple hard to get back onto the right path so that everyone is protected under the law and under the Constitution. So I encourage every single one of you, you may be going to church or you may have gone to church, just spend a little time, just take 1, 2, 3 minutes. It doesn't matter how long or how big your prayer is. Just say, Lord, help our nation. We're in trouble. Hear our prayer. Go out today. Have a great Sunday. Pray for your family. Pray for the nation. And let's get back on that right path. I'll talk with you very soon. Have a blessed Sunday.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.